And the children of Benjamin came forth out of Gibeah and destroyed down to the ground of the Israelites that day 22,000 men. You know, sometimes when you're fighting the battle on the side of the right, it looks like momentarily you're even losing the battle. Here were those on the side of the right that went in to fight those Sodomites, and the first day 22,000 of those on the side of the right died. Sometimes some things just don't seem fair, do they? But there's a reason. All right? We come into the second day. And Benjamin went forth against him out of Gibeah the second day, and destroyed down to the ground of the children of Israel 18,000 men. Now, buddy, this is kind of tough. I mean, this is some rough stuff. 22,000 on the right side died the first day. 18,000 died the second day. That's the time, and that's all the natural to bring you the spiritual, but that's the time you look up and say, God, where are you at? God, whose side are you on? You know, traveling around the country, you run into all kinds of circumstances, conditions, weather patterns, everything. And I was driving one time years ago, a little old car I had at that time in the state of Louisiana. Buddy, it was storming. I mean, it was tearing up jack. And all at once, I mean, it was all just rocking that car. And all at once, I don't know what that lightning hit, but it hit something right beside that car. And when that thing blew, there was nothing but a humongous ball of fire. And instantly I said, whoa, God, whose side are you on? I said it without even thinking. Lord, I'm on your side. Man, it's getting tough. So sometimes, you know, you start to ask the question, wait a minute. God, whose side am I on, or whose side are you on? Well, that's about what they thought here. But they had enough sense to do what I'm talking about. The power of a one-day fast. Verse 26, then all the children of Israel and all the people went up. Now here they lost 22,000 the first day and 18,000 the second day. And so they knew one thing, we're not facing the situation as it is the third day. Forget it. What are we going to do? They went up and came into the house of God and wept and sat there before the Lord and fasted that day until evening, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. Notice how they did it. They were not said, well, we're going to fast tomorrow, we're going to fight them anyhow. They did not fast out there fighting. And what I'm saying, there's a way that you operate in the power of a one-day fast. If you really want to move God in the power of a one-day fast, probably you would never leave your bedroom or your office or wherever you're going to pray and weep before God. I mean, the power of a one-day fast, say, well, I'm going to fast 24 hours, go ahead and go on the job, go out here and work. You ain't going to accomplish much. Might get a little hungry. And, you know, when you break it, it'll make you feel a little good for a while spiritually. But you're not going to accomplish anything. There's a way that you do it. And the way they did it, I'm going to show you in the Bible. They were not out here working. They were not out here doing physical things. When the power of a one-day fast kicked in and they literally moved God, they were before Him weeping, humbling themselves. Everything else didn't matter. Jobs, homes, nothing mattered. All that mattered was moving God. Now, they had a problem right here, friend. There was thousands, literal thousands dying every day they went to battle, and they were fighting for the right side. But here's what changed it. The power of a one-day fast. This is what it said. They sat there before the Lord and fasted that day until even and brought burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. What did God say? Verse 28. And the Lord said, go up, for tomorrow I will deliver them into thine hand. What changed the situation? The power of a one-day fast. Verse 35, and the Lord smote Benjamin before Israel, and the children of Israel destroyed of the Benjaminites that day were 25,000, and 100 men, all these drew the sword. So the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, for the men of Israel gave place to the Benjaminites, because they trusted into the leers in wait, which they had set beside Gibeah. And when the leers in wait hasted, and rushed upon Gibeah, and the leers in wait drew themselves along and smote all the city with the edge of the sword. Let me tell you something. When they got through fighting, if these few men had not ran in or fled into the wilderness, these 600, I believe it is, we'll read here, then, friend, the tribe of Benjamin would have been wiped out that day. The tribe of Benjamin would never have existed from that time. But what saved that tribe? And though there fell of Benjamin 18,000 men, verse 44, and all those that were of valor. And they turned and fled toward the wilderness into the rock of Rimmon, and they gleaned of them in the highways 5,000 men. Buddy, I mean, they was wiping totally out. What changed the situation? The power of a one-day fast. I mean, they was wiping out everything the tribe of Benjamin even had, everything, and pursued hard after them, and got on and slew 2,000 men of them. I mean, they were getting them everywhere. Where they scattered, so that all which fell that day of Benjamin was 20 and 5,000 men that drew the sword, and all these were men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled into the wilderness under the rock of Rimmon, and abode in the rock of Rimmon 4 months. That's the only thing that saved the tribe of Benjamin. 600 turned a different direction, went in and to a place where they were not apprehended. But friend, what turned the cart? What turned the wheel? What turned the situation? What turned it around? The power of a one-day fast. The power of a one-day fast. Here's another time, 1 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 6. They gathered together to Mizpah and drew water and poured it out before the Lord and fasted on that day. And said, there we have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpah. They fasted that day. Now listen. After verse 13, the Bible said the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. Now the Philistines have been giving them a hard time. I mean, they'd been giving them a terrible time. But it said they fasted on that day before the Lord. And God moved. Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpah. And after that, the Bible said the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. In 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verses 3 and 15. And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek the Lord and proclaim a fast throughout all Judah. And it goes on to say they came in the Spirit of the Lord in the midst of the congregation. And he said, hearken ye all Judah, ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, thou King Jehoshaphat, thus saith the Lord unto you, be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. What changed the situation? The power of a one-day fast. And after that one-day fast, God said, the battle is mine. Folks, these are not, or were not, hypocritical fasts. These were not traditionalized fasts. These were fasts where people needed to move God, and they moved God. But when people get down, it's recorded throughout the Bible, and get desperate before God, you can touch him, I'm telling you, with the power of a one-day fast. When they touched him, it turned the tide in their lives. Ezra 8, 21 through 23. Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river of Ahava, that we might afflict ourselves before our God. Notice what it said, afflict. How do you afflict your soul? Fasting. How do you afflict your soul? Doing without food. Fasting before God. And listen to what this says. That we might afflict ourselves before our God to seek of him a right way for us, and for our little ones, and for all our substance. For I was ashamed to require of the king a band of soldiers and horsemen to help us against the enemy in the way. Because we had spoken to the king, saying, the hand of our God is upon all them for good that seek him. But his power and his wrath is against all them that forsake him. So we fasted and besought our God for this, and he was entreated of us. The power of one-day fasts throughout the Scripture. Listen to what Joel 2 said, 15 through 18. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast. Anywhere you're going to move God, there's going to be fasting involved. Anywhere you're going to get God's attention, there's going to be fasting involved. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation. Assemble the elders, gather the children, those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth out of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. God says, get everybody.